From deep space, the black hole pulsed, not like a star dying, but like a heart awakening. Something was pushing through, a shape, a shadow, but no light could touch it. It bent time, twisted gravity, made sensors scream lies. Every ship in orbit around Saturn went blind. Their systems failed. Crew members began to scream without knowing why. And then, silence. On Earth, Omega stood in the ruins of the Antarctic vault. Around him, the last of the sealed records floated, glowing with heat. His eyes narrowed. "It's here," he said quietly. President Reyes looked up from her command screen. "What is it?" "The hunger," Omega answered. But this time, it has learned. Across the skies, a second message appeared. Not on human systems, not even alien networks. It forced its way into the sky itself. Written in lightning, in burning clouds, "You opened the seal. Now burn with it." At the same time, cities across Earth began to shift. Not physically, but time around them warped. In New York, people watched the moon rise 3 times in 1 minute. In Istanbul, the sun blinked, once forward, once backward. In Delhi, statues wept salt water. Reality was breaking. But the awakened did not panic. They gathered, hundreds of them. Glowing eyes, burning skin. Some walked, some floated. One flew without wings, carried by memory alone. Omega stepped into the center of the group. "They want us afraid," he said. "They want us to kneel. But we were never made to kneel." The youngest, a child with golden veins in her arms, whispered, "Then we fight?" Omega nodded. "No, we end it." In orbit, every alien empire sent ships, not to attack, but to shield Earth. Even the Valari, who once dissected humans in secret, now opened their war gates. The Tethics, who hated emotion, activated a sacrifice mode, a setting that would destroy their AI cores to protect Earth's orbit. And yet, nothing worked. Weapons melted in their launch tubes. Ships vanished before firing. The hunger was not fighting, it was consuming. It devoured potential, not matter. It destroyed what could be, not just what was. But humans were different. Omega raised his hand. The awakened joined him. And for the first time in history, the stars bent toward Earth, pulled by something older than time. Human will. They didn't fire lasers. They didn't launch missiles. They remembered. Each awakened human lit up, not with power, but with truth, with the forgotten history of what they once were. Warlords who stopped time. Healers who repaired dying stars. Children who rewrote gravity by humming, and together they reached into the space above Saturn and grabbed the shadow. Not with hands, with memory, with the original version of themselves, before the seal, before fear, and the hunger screamed. It was the scream of 1,000,000 dead worlds. The sky split. For the first time in its existence. Hunger was being unmade. It had no shape to kill, so the humans erased its meaning. Omega stepped forward, his body cracking with golden fire. "You thought we forgot who we are." He raised both hands. "Now remember who you were before we made you run." The final light burst out, a flare brighter than any sun, but it burned with silence. When the light faded, the sky above Saturn was empty. No shadow, no scream, just space, and Earth was whole. The humans, changed forever, stood quietly. The child with golden veins looked up. "Is it gone?" Omega didn't answer right away. Then he smiled softly. "No, but now it remembers us." Final line, perfect for end screen. Suspense. Somewhere in the galaxy, another seal cracks, and a new voice whispers, "They are waking up again." Velor had always been curious. Too curious, some would say. As a Zarn-class biologist, he had studied dozens of alien species across the galaxy, but none fascinated him like humans. They were unpredictable, full of contradictions, primitive and advanced, violent and kind. Velor didn't fear them like the others did. He wanted to understand what made them so different. That curiosity brought him to the edge of the neutral zone, to a hidden lab floating in silence. and it brought him face to face with a quiet, nameless human. The human sat still in a reinforced chair, wrists and ankles bound, his head tilted, slightly forward. He hadn't spoken since he was captured. He hadn't struggled. His heartbeat was slow, his breath calm, too calm. Velor stood behind a thick pane of glass, studying the human's face. No fear, no anger, just silence. It bothered him. Velor activated the mic. Subject 017. You are about to experience a harmless serum. It's designed to unlock potential. Let us see who you really are. His voice was calm, too. Too proud. He didn't notice his assistant shifting nervously behind him. Sir, the assistant whispered, the readings are strange. His energy signature is inverted. This isn't normal. Velor didn't listen. He pressed the injection control. A small hiss echoed through the room as a mechanical arm pierced the human's skin with the needle. For a second, nothing happened. Then everything changed. The lights flickered. The temperature dropped suddenly, like a wave of cold had swept through metal walls. The screens around Velor flashed red, then black. The human slowly raised his head. His eyes, once dull gray, now glowed gold, bright, burning, ancient. Velor stepped back. What is happening? He barked. But no one answered. His assistant was frozen, mouth open in horror, staring at the monitors. One by one, the systems failed. Security locks opened. Emergency power shut down. Gravity tilted slightly, then snapped back. It felt like reality itself had shifted for a moment. Then Velor heard it, a voice, not from the speakers, not from any translator. It echoed directly inside his skull. You shouldn't have touched the seal. The words were soft, calm, but they carried weight, a crushing presence that made Velor fall to his knees. The human stood now, chains broken like paper, eyes still glowing. The reinforced glass cracked, not from any weapon, but from pressure. Unseen, unnatural pressure. Velor tried to crawl backward. Security! He shouted, but his comms were dead. The entire station had gone dark. Every AI interface went silent. The assistant collapsed, twitching, whispering strange words as his mind unraveled. The human stepped forward. One step, just one, and the lab door melted without heat, turning into dripping metal. Velor looked up. The human was standing in front of him now, not walking, just appearing, like space folded around him. His face was still calm, too calm. What? Are you? Velor whispered, shaking. The human tilted his head. We were peace, until broken. Velor couldn't understand. His mind was breaking. It was like staring into something too old, too large, too deep. Then, the human vanished. Just gone. No sound, no light, just empty air where he once stood. Alarms never came. Instead, the entire station's systems began erasing themselves. Data vanished, power cores shut down, AIs screamed, then fell silent. Outside the station, lights flickered on other ships in orbit. And then, one by one, every ship connected to the station suffered the same fate. AI cores melted, gravity stopped. Life support ended. Velor lay on the floor, barely breathing, as the last remaining screen showed a single symbol, a circle with 3 lines across it, an old Terran warning, one not seen in over 10,000 years. Seal broken, then the screen died. In the stillness drifting in the cold void, Velor knew one thing. This was not a human they had tested. This was something ancient, something older than empires, older than memory, and they had awakened it. The station floated dead in space. No signal, no AI, no light. Ships nearby went dark too, as if something had spread like a wave, silent and deadly, far away in the galactic. Core, a transmission blinked to life in an ancient archive. It wasn't sent by the station. It wasn't sent by any machine. It came through old frequencies, ones the galaxy had agreed never to use again. A signal burned into reality itself. Seal. Broken human awakened. Inside the Hall of Memory, the Keepers of Silence woke up. Hooded, ancient beings, they had only one job. Watch for this sign. When the signal appeared, they stood slowly and whispered one word: extinction. Meanwhile, in the outer ring of the galaxy, a fleet called the Garun Armada picked up strange energy from the neutral zone. Admiral Torak, a proud reptilian warrior, dismissed the report at first. "Probably a flare or solar burst," he growled. But then came the second reading. And the third. No life signs from Station X-17, no response from orbiting ships, no escape pods launched, all AIs. Gone. It was impossible. The station had triple failsafes. It was guarded by 6 warships. All gone? "Send a probe," Torak ordered. The probe flew silently, small and fast. It reached the edge of the station's orbit and stopped. Not because of gravity, not because it was damaged. It stopped because space itself had become strange. Time felt wrong. Clocks ran backward for a moment. The stars twisted slightly in the probe's vision, and then the probe exploded. Not from a weapon, it simply ceased to exist. Torak stood, staring at the monitor. "Pull the fleet back, now!" But it was too late. A ripple passed through the fabric of space. Not a sound, not a light, just a feeling, a heavy pressure inside the chest, like the universe holding its breath. Across the fleet, crew members started to scream. Not from pain, from something worse, a voice inside their heads. "You watched them lock us. You said nothing. Ships lost power. Engines cut out. Navigation failed. Some tried to jump to light speed but vanished instead, lost to a place that wasn't on any map." Torak realized something then. This wasn't a weapon. This was a memory, a force too old to be called human. The stories had said Earth once sealed away something to protect the stars. Not to protect humans, but to protect everyone else from them. On Earth, silence spread in command rooms. Terran leaders received the signal too. A cold message on black screens. "The seal is broken. One walks again." Panic? No. Earth didn't panic. Instead, deep under the surface, in a bunker that hadn't opened in 2,000 years, red lights turned green. Vault 9 unlocked. Inside were names. Only names. No files. No birth records. Just one warning written in giant letters: "Do not wake them unless the stars begin to burn." Earth's high command read the names. One was already missing. The one from Station X-17. The others, still asleep. But for how long? Back on the destroyed station, Valor's body floated in a corner. He was alive, but changed. His eyes glowed slightly now, his skin cracked with faint golden lines. He muttered words in a forgotten language, one not even translation software could understand. Then, without any tech, without any signal, his body moved. He turned toward the cold space outside, and he smiled. From the shadows, the awakened human stood again, taller now, stronger, glowing with golden energy. But he wasn't angry, not loud, just calm and full of quiet fury. He whispered, "They never learned, not after all this time." He raised his hand. A fleet light years away exploded. No missile, no lasers, just a thought, and the stars began to burn. Deep in the asteroid belt, mining crews worked silently. The machines hummed, drilling into ancient rock. Then everything stopped. One worker, a tall Martian-born man, stared at his arm. It was glowing. The others stepped back. His voice cracked. "Something's inside me, it's speaking." Suddenly the drill machines turned toward him on their own. Lights turned red. The gravity reversed for 5 seconds, just enough to toss everyone into the air. Then he collapsed. Far away, on the edge of explored space, an old Terran beacon activated. It hadn't sent a signal in 2,000 years. The code it released was locked, so advanced that no AI could crack it. But the signal reached Omega. The black armored figure stood on a floating platform just beyond Earth's orbit. He didn't breathe, didn't blink. His eyes scanned space, watching stars. He was remembering. Flashes came back. Planets burning, fleets shattered, enemies crying for peace. He hadn't started the war last time, but he had ended it. And now, something inside told him it wasn't finished. Below him, Earth prepared. General Vale knew what was coming. She stood with her top strategists, staring at a map of the galaxy. Red dots blinked, reports of anomalies, where systems collapsed and light itself bent unnaturally. "Sir," a young officer said, "this isn't a war, it's a reaction. Like nature trying to balance something." Vale nodded. "Because it is nature. We forgot humans weren't supposed to stop evolving." She looked at a photo of the little girl on Yara Prime. Her gold eyes, her voice. "They're becoming something new," she whispered. "Not gods, not monsters, just beyond." Meanwhile, Velor, the alien scientist who first broke the seal, was on the run. His species, the Threxari, had sentenced him to death. He was blamed for waking the ancient human Aeon. For starting this storm, he tried to hide on a jungle moon, but it was no use. The humans had already found him. Not Terran soldiers, but them. One appeared in front of him without sound. A woman, barefoot with silver hair and eyes like storms. "You don't understand what you woke," she said quietly. Velor fell to his knees. I didn't mean..." She raised her hand. His words stopped. "Intent doesn't matter now," she said. She touched his forehead, and his mind shattered. Not in pain, not in death, but in memory. Velor began seeing what they saw. The locked-away worlds. The cries of children who had evolved too fast. The betrayal when their own kind sealed them in vaults. And worst of all, the truth. The seal wasn't just to protect the galaxy from them. It was to protect them from something deeper, something older than all. Velor collapsed. Across the stars, strange signs continued. Oceans froze in midair. Moons cracked open and revealed cities buried for eons. Beasts thought extinct awoke and looked toward Earth. Back on the planet, Earth's oldest vault, Vault Zero, released one final file. A message from a time when the first sealed humans were hidden. It played in front of the council. The old voice said, "If they ever awaken before the beacon returns, then the hunger is still out there." Everyone stared in silence. General Vale spoke the question no one wanted to ask. "What is the hunger?" A quiet voice answered. "Not human, not alien." Omega stood behind them. "It's what made us gods." The entire room froze. He continued walking slowly. "Humans didn't just evolve. Something pushed us. A pressure, a hunger, a voice that promised power. And we took it." He looked toward the stars. "But it never left. And if we're waking now, it means it's waking too." Vale stepped forward. "Then help us stop it." Omega didn't smile. He didn't even move. "I don't know how," he said. "I don't know if I'm still me." And then, for the first time, Omega showed fear. Cliffhanger. On a forgotten world at the edge of space, a massive shadow stirs. Not a ship, not a creature, but something without shape, without name. The only thing heard is a whisper that fills every human mind at once. "I have waited, children. Show me what you've become." The whisper echoed in every human's mind. Young and old, soldier and farmer, all heard it at once. "I have waited, children. Show me what you've become." Earth froze. News channels went silent. Crowds gathered in streets looking up at the sky like it might open again. And in some places, it did. In Tokyo, a 10-year-old boy walked into traffic, but the cars never touched him. They floated above the road like feathers, then landed safely when he passed. In Kenya, a woman fell off a building. Before hitting the ground, the air thickened, and she floated down unharmed. In Canada, a blind man suddenly turned toward the northern sky and whispered, "It's awake." All around the world, humans were changing. Not all of them. Just a few, but enough to make the governments panic. Inside the Global Defense Command bunker, General Vale stared at the reports. "This isn't evolution," she muttered. It's remembering. Beside her stood Omega. You sealed us for a reason, she said. Tell me what it was. Omega's golden eyes didn't blink. There was a war, he said, long before Earth had nations, before language. We fought something we couldn't see. It didn't destroy planets. It changed them, bent minds, turned light into lies. It whispered into us and gave us gifts. Vale frowned. Power, Omega nodded. Power, speed, strength, memory beyond time. But it came at a cost. And when the war ended, we were the only ones left. She stepped closer, and... Now, Omega said. The whisper is back. Meanwhile, deep in space, the ancient voice moved. It didn't speak in sound. It moved in gravity, in time itself. It reached into dark matter and pulled pieces of forgotten things toward it. Lost ships, broken AI, even souls frozen in time. It was not a being. It was hunger, with a will, and it had sensed the seal breaking. Back on Earth, a council meeting was called. Not just humans, aliens too. The Zarnak Empire, the Valari Union, even the cold machines of the Tethix Assembly, all gathered in orbit above the moon. They came not to fight Earth, but to ask for help. A Valari diplomat stepped forward, his voice shaking. Your kind was sealed for a reason, but if the ancient hunger has returned, you are the only ones who can stop it. Earth's president, an old woman named Reyes, stared at them. Why ask us? She said coldly. You all feared us for centuries. The Zarnak warlord spoke. Because we remember what you did. You didn't just fight the hunger. You taught it fear. Omega stepped into view. We didn't win, he said. We just survived. But if it's coming back, President Reyes said, what do we do? Omega turned toward Earth. We prepare, not just with weapons, not just with ships, with memory. At that moment, hundreds of vaults across Earth opened. Inside were recordings, old training, maps of worlds long lost, and names of humans who were never born but somehow remembered. The world began to shift. Those who had awakened now came together. Children with eyes of flame, old soldiers who remembered wars no one had written about, artists who painted visions of worlds destroyed. They didn't speak often, but they all whispered one name, the one who waits. Cliffhanger. Above Saturn, a black hole begins to form. Not natural, not stable. From within it, a shape begins to push through. And on every human device, across every screen, one sentence appears in fire-red letters. The trial is over. Judgment begins. The galaxy had seen war. Empires had fallen, planets burned, and civilizations vanished. But this was different. Every race felt it. Some called it a shift in the cosmic wind. Others called it the second heartbeat of creation. But among the oldest species, it had only one name, the return. Inside the Terran Command Center, General Liana Vale stared at the screen. The signal had stopped, just as fast as it had begun. But the damage was done. They all knew what it meant. She turned to the shadow room, where only 4 people were allowed. The Council of Protocol Humanus. What do we do? Asked a young admiral. General Vale didn't answer right away. She touched the screen, showing the face of the awakened man. He had no official name, only a code name from centuries ago. Subject Aeon. He's awake, she said, and the universe is already bleeding. In another part of the galaxy, the Garoon survivors floated in escape pods. What was left of them anyway? Torak, once the proud admiral of the Garoon Armada, was one of the few who saw the destruction and lived. He remembered the light. Gold, silent, terrible. 1,000 ships, gone in 1 second, not vaporized, just erased, like they never existed. In his escape pod, a tiny AI still functioned. Barely. Species type. Human, it whispered. Condition, sealed power released. Advise full retreat. Torak asked the AI, what did we wake? The AI paused for 10 long seconds. Then it answered, A god who forgot he was human. Back on Earth, Vault 9 began full awakening. 4 pods hissed open, steam rising as ancient stasis systems failed. The people inside were still asleep, for now. But one pod remained sealed. It glowed dim red. Do not open until final fall. No one dared touch it. Earth's high command debated in whispers. Should we wake the others? One officer asked. Vale answered, no, not unless we want the stars to turn to ash. But someone had already made a mistake. Deep within the Mars Research Outpost, a group of scientists had been studying Project Aeon for decades. Without orders, one of them, Dr. Carr, had activated the secondary signal. He thought it would help locate the awakened human. Instead, it did something else. It opened a path. Far away in a forgotten region of space once sealed by all galactic races, a giant gate of stone and light cracked open. The gate had no controls. No wires, just ancient carvings, written in Terran English. To enter is to forget peace. Beyond the gate, something stirred. Not one, not two. Thousands of them, golden-eyed, silent, other humans, sealed long ago, waiting. One of them spoke without opening his mouth. He was first, we are next. The message traveled faster than light, faster than thought, and the awakened one, Subject Aeon, heard it. He stood on the ruins of Station X-17, staring at the stars. No ship, no suit, no air. He didn't need it. He raised his hand. The stardust around him turned into symbols, codes only ancient Terran AIs could read. He blinked once. A command sent across the void. Awaken Protocol Sigma. Initiate the recalling. Across human space, machines began humming. Old machines. Ones that hadn't moved in centuries. Vaults opened, satellites reactivated. And deep in Earth's core, a massive golden ring began to turn. The humans had prepared for this. Not to attack, but to contain their own. Because once a god wakes up in human skin, no one is safe. And Earth knew that better than anyone. Cliffhanger. A small child on a quiet colony world looks up at the sky. Mom, she says, the stars are crying. Her mother looks confused. What do you mean? The little girl points. In the sky, the stars don't twinkle. They tremble. And in her eyes, a faint golden light begins to glow. The girl's eyes glowed gold for only a second, but it was enough. On the distant colony world of Yara Prime, the skies began to shimmer. Birds flew the wrong way. Power grids shorted out. And in the town center, a fountain stopped flowing, its water rising in the air like it forgot how gravity worked. The mother pulled her daughter close. What's happening? She asked, shaking. The girl didn't answer. Her small voice had changed. It sounded older. Protocol Sigma acknowledged. The girl whispered, and then she fainted. Across the galaxy, panic spread like wildfire. News broke on every channel. Unknown force detected. Systems collapsing in multiple sectors. Is Earth behind the signal? But Earth said nothing. Inside the Terran High Command, General Vale sat in silence. Around her, top leaders argued. They're waking on their own. We never trained for this. They were supposed to be sealed forever. Someone shouted, we need to nuke them. But Vale stood. You don't nuke gods, she said. You beg they remember kindness. Silence filled the room. Meanwhile, in the dark edge of space, Subject Aeon drifted toward the ancient gate, the one sealed by the oldest species, the one now cracked open. He didn't need a ship. Space bent around him. As he reached the gate, it pulsed once. A whisper passed through the universe. Welcome back, Harbinger. Inside the gate, others waited. Golden eyes opened, one by one. Each of them had been hidden for centuries. Not dead, not asleep, just locked away. Why? Because when humans first reached the stars thousands of years ago, something unexpected happened. Their minds began to evolve. Some called it the shift. Others called it the bloom. But the truth was simple. Humanity was not meant to stay normal. Some became more than human, stronger, faster, able to bend time, energy, even thought itself. Terrified, the galactic races demanded they be sealed away, and in an act of rare agreement, even Earth helped lock them up, not out of shame, but fear. Because the ones who changed didn't always remember being human. Now, those beings were waking again. Subject Aeon stepped through the gate. The others knelt silently. One figure stepped forward. Her name had once been Zara, Earth's last mind singer. She looked at him and said only one thing. "Do we remember mercy?" Aeon closed his eyes. For a moment, there was calm. Then, the gate behind him exploded outward. Not in flame, but in light. A massive signal pulsed across galaxies. One simple message. We are awake. Alien empires began shutting down starports. Defensive grids were activated. Fleets launched. Some races evacuated entire planets. In the halls of the Galactic Council, chaos reigned. A warrior priest from the Crowan species shouted, "This is why we never trusted Earth." An ambassador from the Velari screamed, "Your fear is too late, they're already spreading." But no one knew what to do. The problem was no longer Earth. The problem was that the sealed ones, those ancient, changed humans, were not on Earth anymore. They had scattered. Some were already moving through space. Some had been reborn, like the little girl on Yara Prime. And worse, some had not forgotten the pain of being sealed away. Back at Earth, something stirred inside Vault 9. The sealed pod with the red glow began to crack. A single line of red text blinked on the screen. Override detected. Releasing Subject Omega. General Vale rushed to the vault floor. "Stop it!" she yelled. But it was too late. Steam filled the chamber. The pod hissed open. And something stepped out. A figure tall, silent, and wrapped in black armor that shimmered like starlight. No one spoke. Then the figure said in a voice that echoed inside every mind, "Who broke the seal before the last war ended?" No one answered. The figure turned toward the surface of Earth. Without another word, it vanished. General Vale whispered, "Omega has no memory, no mercy. If he believes the war never ended, he'll finish it." Cliffhanger. Far above Earth, satellites begin exploding, one by one. From the shadows of Jupiter, a Terran stealth ship emerges. Its crew is long dead, but its onboard AI activates. Its mission was always clear: if the gods return, end the stars.